Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hello and welcome back to the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob and
Randy.
And we are
The Happy Healthy Guys.
All right, so last week we were talking about the fact that you cannot science the body into longevity.
No way, no how.
No way, no how. We had a lot of messages to us going, okay, well, how do I live a longer, happier, healthier life without having to worry about sciencing the body into health, biohacking the body into health? So this is an episode that you're going to want to listen to because today we're not simply giving information or education. We are going to be giving you action steps. So we're going to give you 5 daily habits for a longer, happier, healthier life. So with that being said, I really feel like if we're going to jump into this and we're going to give some foundational principles, what is the first foundational principle that we need to talk about in order to live a happier, healthier life?
Yeah, if you want to be healthy, I would say you got to know what health is, right?
What
a concept. And, and you talk to, 10 different people who God even knows what type of answers you would even get. And not just from the general public, from, the medical community, even the natural wellness community, the holistic community. What really is health? And I think this is really, Dr. Rob, this is really the psyop that the medical essentially the medical cartel, this medical industrial complex is what they've played on us, is they really tried to make health feel that it's very complicated. It's this complicated thing. In fact, even the way they write the literature and the data published in journals and what's put out through legacy media, it's very complicated to understand. And they do that. That's strategic, by the way, because when something's really complicated, it's intimidating. And when you're intimidating of something, you almost just outsource it to the people that maybe are, quote, the smart people who really must have all the answers. And so because you don't understand how they present it, you just acquiesce and turn your health over to them. And I think that is intentional. I think it's on purpose. Health doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, any doctor making health complicated, I would call them a dino.
What in the world is a dino?
I would call them a dino. So
like a dinosaur.
Here's a new acronym. Much like a dinosaur. No, a dino, doctor in name only. Doctor means teacher. What is your doctor teaching you? Are they making it complicated? Are they making you think that you're broken, that disease is the normal, that health is the abnormal, when here is what health is? It's really, health is the normal. And I've used this, we've said this before. So let me frame this up. Remember, health and disease are the exact same thing. Let that sink in. Health and disease are the exact same thing. It's the body doing the right thing under the circumstances. So what is health, right? Health is the normal that your body is designed to heal. And that all these symptoms and diseases that they diagnose and give us drugs for to suppress are the body's therapeutic healing response, why it's doing the right thing under the circumstances that you created. So the body's never trying to kill you, Dr. Rob. It's always trying to heal you, and it's always at work, and it has your best interests at heart. And symptoms, many of the things we've been diagnosed with, it's not the cause of the problem.
Okay, so let's unpack this because I think this is extremely important. Everything that we talk about as far as being or living a happier, healthier life, again, this is the foundation of it. And yes, like Sharon just said, it's a mindset change and it's really a belief system change for it. So if you have that person that is listening and they're like, well, I've got heart disease,
right?
Or my father has heart disease. My mom has heart disease. My mom just had open heart surgery last week because of her heart disease. Are you saying to me then that heart disease is the body being healthy, or heart disease is the same as health. So help me understand that better.
Well, here's what I would tell you. If you go to a dino, if you go to a doctor in name only, a doctor, and when I say a dino, these are doctors that diagnose and treat disease with drugs and surgery. Yet there isn't one disease, quote, disease in the world that is caused by a lack of chemicals or drugs, right? Remember, if you give drugs to a healthy person, it would make that person sick. How is giving drugs to a sick person going to make them healthy? So we already know that whatever you're going through, it's not a drug deficiency. Okay. So heart disease is interesting because it's the number one disease killer. How many doctors do we have now who treat heart disease?
Millions.
How many drugs, doctors, tests, hospitals, medications? How is heart disease now, after the last 50, 60, 70, 80 years of treating heart, quote, disease? Is it better or is it worse?
Oh, it's way worse.
Yes, so we don't have any
statistics and numbers don't lie. I mean, it's more now than it's ever been.
I don't know, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, and if you're listening and you know, send it to us. I don't know of any person who's ever had heart disease that went to a allopathically trained medical doctor, followed their advice, and reversed their condition. I don't know of one recorded case. If there is, you're going to have to show us the research and send it in so we can take a look at it. There are no chemical cures for conditions and diseases that aren't caused by a lack of chemicals. Do people get sick? Quote, sick? Yes, of course they do. But we know it's not from what they tell us it is. Remember, we talk about the 4Gs of disease. They talk about it's germs, it's geriatrics, getting older, it's genetics, right? It runs in your family. Or it's just bad luck, a bad or a garbage poker hand, which, if you believe all of that, what that does is it makes you a victim. And if you're a victim, now what they've diagnosed you with is now permanent. And if it's permanent and there's nothing you can do about it, now what are you going to do? It's a very defeating mindset. And we've worked with over 10,000 patients and clients, heck, more than that over the last 10, 15 years. Heck, in the 25 years we've been in this wellness space. And anybody who becomes a victim, I've never seen any one person who is a victim get well. Your physiology won't allow you to get well because now you've taken ownership of something that isn't even real. Disease doesn't exist. And remember, disease, you can name it: diabetes, heart disease, stroke, arthritis, autoimmune, whatever you want to name your disease, it is incurable. You cannot cure disease. What if there is no disease and there's only dyshyphanes, where there's not ease in your body, where the body, there's interference to that process? Because remember, 1 John 4:4 in the Bible says, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. For some of you, you may not believe in God. And if that's the case, it doesn't change the fact, this is an immutable law, that your body is designed to heal. The greatest doctor in the world is inside of you. And if that is true, and we know that to be true, heck, I can even prove it. You cut yourself, you bleed, you scab, and your body healed itself within a couple of weeks. You are a healer. You break a bone, it'll mend, it'll heal, it'll repair, you'll create new bone cells. You will mend this stuff. Guys, your body heals itself. So there isn't anything that your body can't heal when you create the right environment. There's no incurable diseases. There's only incurable people. Disease is incurable. Dyshyphanes is very curable.
Yeah. So to make it really simple, true health happens when your body then is in a 100% optimal state of chemical, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It's not merely the absence of disease. Somebody said something, and Sharon just said that, and I was thinking about it as you said it as well, is really the system is designed to create victims. And then how does that do that? And as you were talking, I was thinking about it, and with it just being Easter Sunday this past weekend just got me thinking about God. And then you talked about 1 John 4:4. And when you think about it, really the intention of darkness, okay, is to create confusion.
Yeah.
Because there's a lack of clarity. And then the intention of darkness is to create separation. And so if it's to create separation, it's to separate you from that belief and the fact that your body does have that healing power inside. So think about that. If you do go to your dino They want you to think that
Yeah.
it's not your body that's doing the healing. It
Yeah.
was the drug or the treatment that was doing the healing. So think about what that just did, is that separates you from the inborn wisdom and the healing inside your body, which then creates that victim. And now when you become that victim, you make whatever that disease is your identity.
Yeah.
I
That's
have
right.
heart disease, or I have diabetes,
You're
or I
casting
have,
this over your
you're
body.
casting that spell
Yeah.
over your body. And we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit
Yeah.
more about that here in just a few minutes. So as I was thinking about that,
Yeah.
ultimately we call that separation. If you are somebody who is Christian, you call that separation sin. That's what sin is
Yeah.
separation from God.
Yep.
So the more we actually bow down to that dino or bow down to that chemical that's putting into our body, we are separating ourselves from our own inborn wisdom and no longer taking responsibility for our own health. And that's exactly what it is that they want you to do, is to stop taking responsibility for your own health, for you to walk into a grocery store and allow whatever's put on the box of whatever it is that you're buying
Yeah.
to now be responsible for your health, because it somehow says it's heart healthy, speaking of heart disease, and there couldn't be anything further from the actual real truth in that box of whatever that cereal is or whatever it is that you're looking at, that there's nothing in there that has anything to do with health. It's all there to separate you, to keep you in that victim place. It's like this whole just thing. This is a massive thing that we're talking about. So we have to get to a place where we understand exactly what health is, so that we all can, and you can take responsibility for your own health and control the things that you can control. And we're going to talk about what those 5 things are today.
Yeah, you're describing it's idolatry. It's medical idolatry, essentially, where, one of the best ways, while we're talking about God, our favorite subject to talk about, where, one of the ways we worship God is with honoring God with our body. God does not create you to be a victim. You are a victor. And once you know that, once you know the greatest doctor is inside of each and every one of you, and that your body's designed to heal, that health is the normal and disease is the abnormal, now you've positioned yourself to now start making better decisions, start taking accountability and agency in your life to now change your outcome. So let's talk about, how do you actually do that, Dr. Rob? Because once again, it can be confusing, and real health is not confusing.
Yeah, and all the things that we'll talk about, these 5 daily habits, to be able to allow your body to be the whole healing vessel that was given to us by God and created in his image. They're all free, by the way, just so you know. Thank you so much for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. And as always, if you don't know what's going on with your metabolism and you want to find out, go to metabolismscore.com.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. And, we don't make a lot of products, but the products we do make are all metabolically focused. So go check these out. Go to the happyhealthylife.com. And when you get to checkout, use code podcast to save 10% off any and all of our metabolic friendly products.
Okay.
Amazing.
Number one is really how you start your day. You may have heard the term like win the morning, win your day, right? How it is that we start the day really determines how it is that we are going to go through our day and ultimately finish that day. And just really starting your day in nature, starting your day grounded in that word of God, not grounded in the word of your phone or your social media or your emails or any of that nonsense in there. And so one of the things that you can do is really literally get up first thing in the morning and put your bare feet onto the bare ground. Today is Earth Day. So let's, start the day earthing. So
That's how I started my day today. It was the perfect day here in Texas to do it because the sunrise was so beautiful.
I thought the sun's bad for you.
Exactly, right? So pretty much today should also be the opposite day. Whatever the medical community tells you to do about your health, Just do the opposite, and you'll probably be closer to the truth than what they told you. That is the real talk. But yeah, this morning was perfect. Getting up in the morning, watching the sun come up, it's so powerful. What a place of gratitude to be in. How amazing is that? And like you said, getting your feet on the ground. There's a creek over where I live, and I go over by the creek, and I'm barefoot, feet on the ground, by the trees, by the water, watching the sun come up. And that's the perfect time to really charge your body. It's almost like, think of it like your body's a battery, and the sun is that charging apparatus that charges your body. So the sun literally gives your body tons of energy. In fact, you've heard of mitochondria, which are those energy producing organelles within our cells of our body. Two-thirds of the energy requirements to your body's mitochondria, those come from the sun, especially early morning sun. So getting sun in your eyes, they call it photobiomodulation, where you're getting sun into your eyes, you're charging your mitochondria. I think if you look at the entire body, I believe the eyes may have more mitochondria than any other part of your body, because it's designed to receive that light, get it into your system, charge your mitochondria. This will actually help even set your circadian rhythms. If you've heard of circadian rhythms, every single hormone in your body has a circadian rhythm. So starting your day in gratitude, feet on the ground, getting that charge from the earth, getting that charge from the sun, just waking up and seeing that take place starts the day in a way where you'll notice how much energy you have throughout the day, and how much better and how much easier it is to go to sleep at night once you set those rhythms. I can't tell you how powerful that is. And like you said earlier, guys, it's completely free. There's no charge for that. It doesn't have to be expensive. Health doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be intentional.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing to that. One of the things that I love to do first thing in the morning as I'm walking is really being intentional about my breath. We're in this world where there's so many different things coming at us, and it's hard to discern, okay, what's true, what's not true. You're, looking at all the information that's coming to you, but even when you look at it from the very beginning, it's even biblical, where it says all understanding is God breathed.
Yeah.
And so it's like God's breath, right? It's no wonder that we use that word inspired, right? It's that inspiration. So here's something super practical that you can do is when you're breathing in, do a count of it's a 4-7-8. And what the 4-7-8 is, and there's different variations of this, but it means just breathing in for a count of 4, breathing in through your nose and allowing it to fill your belly up. And you can feel it literally going into your belly to get a full breath, but you also want to make sure that you're getting the oxygen and everything that's in the air into your lungs. So then you would hold it for a count of 7. It's really easy when you're walking because I use my steps as my counts, right?
Yeah, I love doing that when I walk as well, right? That's a powerful strategy. I love this. Keep going. This is good.
And so then breathe out then for a count of 8, so you can breathe all the carbon dioxide back and back out, and then breathe back in. But do that, and I'll repeat that pattern there like 5 to 10 times as I'm doing that and just walking. And so what I'll also do, and something that my mantra as I'm doing this, and this is something that you can use as well, is you can use the mantra as I'm breathing in, I feel like I'm literally breathing in God's wisdom, God's understanding, God's love into my life as I'm breathing in, is that as I'm holding it, I allow myself to say, I receive. So as I'm holding my breath, I'm receiving that in. And then as I'm breathing out, I'm releasing any kind of negative energy, any negativity, anything that doesn't belong in my body. I refuse to carry any type of negative energy that does not belong to me. And one of the things we talked about last week was energy. So I just don't want any of that around me. So that's like the mantra that I'm using as I'm going through that. So that's something practical that you could be able to use. I love practicality.
Practicality is great, and throw those sunglasses away. Stop blocking all that light into your eyes. In fact, wearing sunglasses will cause your skin to burn because you're blocking that photobiomodulation. So get rid of the sunglasses, get sun in your eyes, get grounded, get those breaths in, get all that negativity out. Be careful of your thoughts and your words. What a great start to the day. What if everybody started their day that way, right? You think we'd have a different looking world and society? So Don't try to change everybody else. Start with you. This is what today is about. Take accountability for your life. You're not a victim. Start putting these things in place. What's next, Dr. Rob?
Next is eliminate at least one source of chronic inflammation.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked last week about how chronic inflammation will create ages or advanced glycolation in products in the body. But here's the thing. We have been, I guess, we've been taught to villainize inflammation, right?
Totally.
In fact,
Totally.
they said like the #1 killer years ago on the cover of Time magazine, it had a
Oh yeah, I
picture of,
remember
like,
that.
flame.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
said inflammation on there. However, is inflammation a bad thing?
No, it's definitely, it's not a bad thing. You think about it, it's like you said, it's been villainized, and inflammation has this negative connotation. But remember, your body is always doing the right thing under the circumstances. It is. So for example, let's say you get a splinter, and of course, now the splinter's in your skin, your body's going to now mount an inflammatory response, create some swelling, some fluid, some pus to help do what? Push the splinter out of your body. So is the swelling and the pus in inflammation, is that the disease?
Nope.
Is that the cause? Yet you'd go to a doctor and they give you antibiotics, or they give you, anti-inflammatory medication. They give you things to stop the body from healing. So if you take anti-inflammatory drugs, whether they're prescription or over the counter, you're actually stopping what your body is trying to do to heal you. Now, chronic inflammation over time, are there problems with that? There are, but it's not the inflammation. It's what is the cause of the inflammation? Because just stopping and chemically forcing inflammation down isn't getting to why you had the inflammation in the first place, right? Causation and correlation. There may be inflammation associated with something that's negative in your life, but it's not the cause of why you're having it. Fire trucks don't cause fires, although you see a lot of fire trucks when you run into a fire. Causation versus correlation, the inflammation, what you're looking for. What is the cause? So what are some of the causes of why you may be inflamed versus just targeting the inflammation, which is the body's therapeutic healing response?
Yeah, if you go back to a couple of episodes, we talked about this a lot, but I would say the #1 cause right now of chronic inflammation is seed oils. It's the corn oils, the canola oil, any of the seed oils, because that's not naturally occurring in nature. Your body doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Not to mention it's coming from a seed. If you want to know why it coming from a seed is a bad thing, go back and listen to a couple of episodes, because we talked about that a long time. And so, and it's literally everywhere. We were speaking at a doc's office in Naples, Florida. And so the day that we got there, we were going to have lunch. And as we were going to have lunch, we go to this restaurant. We wanted to get our feet in the sand. Speaking of the sun.
Oh, was that the Ritz-Carlton? Is a nice place.
Yeah, we had to be, happened to be in Naples.
Yeah.
And so we sit down and we look at the menu, and we're trying to look at, everything that they have and pick the thing that, okay, this right here should not have seed oil. So the pick was the fish of the day grilled, right? No seed oil. So we asked the waitress, and she's like, no, it's not cooked with any seed oil at all. However, it is marinated in olive oil. Is that okay? We're like, well, you have to make sure it doesn't have any seed oil. We're allergic to that. And probably about 5 minutes later, the head chef for the entire place comes out, Torres.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Torres, for coming out.
Thank you, Torres.
And so he comes out and he says, hey, now, is there an allergy to the seed oils? We're like, yes, not good. And he's like, well, that fish that you want, the catch of the day, is marinated in soybean oil. So it was 1% olive oil,
1%,
99% soybean oil, which is not a good oil. It's one of these seed oils that we're talking about. And so we said no to that. What do you have that doesn't have any seed oil? And he's like, well, it's going to be this beef, this skirt steak that we have. No seed oil. It's just on the grill. So we're like, well, make sure the grill's not brushed with it at all. And he was really cool
super cool
about it and willing to be able to help us. But the reason that we bring that up is because very few people are willing to say something about it. But the fact that it's everywhere and it's all around us, it's, it has a half-life of over 600 days, which means that it takes over 600 days to get it out of your body.
Yeah.
It's an endocrine disruptor, creates
Of the
chronic
highest order.
inflammation.
Yeah.
And if you continue to keep on putting it into your body day in and day out and day in and day out, you know what? You are literally creating toxic cells inside your body. We know that's one of the things that creates that dyshyphenese where you end up with cancer, which you know all too well. And so there you go. So that right there is, you just have to be your own health CEO, taking responsibility for your own health, and that's something that you can 100% absolutely control.
Yeah, and you're thinking, is it really that big a deal? Just like you said, just to go out to a restaurant and just not ask any questions. Just, ignorance is bliss, right? Although for me and for you, bliss is torture. I don't want bliss. I don't want ignorance. I want to know, is that one time going to destroy your life? It's not that one time. It's every time you make that deal with yourself that it's not a big deal. And the next thing you know, 20 years go by. And like you said, these oils are building up. You're pushing all of these toxins into your tissue. And now it really comes out on the other side of some, chronic disease that runs in your family or is genetic or, is this rare bad luck thing that happened to you. And it was the intentional decision to just ignore basic things about health. And it didn't cost us any more money to request to not eat seed oil. And we weren't lying when we said we have an allergy to it. Everybody is allergic to industrial seed oil, these omega-6 fatty acids that are highly, highly damaging to your metabolism and to your overall health. So don't be scared to fight for your health. And the more we fight for our own health, the more people will have to acquiesce to us. Remember, we don't work for them. They work for us. When are we going to wake up and realize that?
Yes, and we have an idea for that. So if you're listening right now and you want to help us disrupt this industry, we need help because it's going to be a huge lift for us to do that. So just reach out to us if you have any interest in helping with that, because we have something that can really just revolutionize the world and really help people be happier and healthier. Now, with that said, we already do have something else. So if you're gonna
talk about some healthy fats,
you're gonna swap out the seed oil, swap it out and use this oil, SCT oil, instead of that. So
SCT oil. By the way,
where can you get that?
8 years running. We launched this in 2017. Hard to believe. It's our number one selling product. Like, shameless plug.
SCToil.com.
SCToil.com, guys. It's a short chain triglyceride full of all the benefits that you get from real food nutrition. We talk about simply eat real food, simply eat real fat. So you're going to have all your short chain fats, specifically butyrate. So butyric acid is the preferred source of fuel for your colon, the colonocytes in your colon, where you create energy in those mitochondria. That is where you can flood your body, your gut microbiome, that gut-brain axis, your overall metabolic health. And you don't create any reactive oxygen species when you cook with this oil. Everybody should be using this oil. But if you don't have SCT oil, there are other oils that are acceptable. Grass-fed butter. If you want a non-animal based, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if you do, coconut oil. And I'll tell you my new favorite thing, Dr. Rob. Last night I grilled up some bison burgers and melted some raw cheese on there from Switzerland that I got at Whole Foods. And then what I did, I pulled out a pack. I buy these at Sprouts. It's basically just chunks of vertebra. It's bone marrow. So you've got it cross-section across, and down in the middle, you've got all that bone marrow. I just took it out of the freezer, had thawed it out, and took my spoon and dipped out all that raw bone marrow. It was like butter, and I threw it onto my burger. You want to talk about nutrient density? And the flavor with some of our trace mineral salts, another shameless plug, happy, healthy trace mineral salts, unbelievable nutrient dense, satisfying real food nutrition. Guys, eating healthy isn't something that has to taste bad. In fact, the healthiest foods in the world are rich with nutrient density. Stop counting calories, start counting nutrients.
Yeah, one of the reasons why even with that bone marrow and getting these good healthy fats, if you're that person, I was thinking about this last night, is that I used to be that person that would crave sugar after every single meal, specifically at night and after dinner, I had to have dessert. That's why when you look at SCT oil or these short chain fats that we're talking about, SCT stands for sugar cravings terminated. It is
True
a
story.
real thing. If it can be able to help curb those sugar cravings with me, it can do it for anybody. He can attest to that.
True story.
And so, okay, we've got 3 more to get through, and we got to do this really quick.
Okay,
here
let's
because
do
we
it.
only have a few minutes. Okay, so the next one, habit number 3 is to surf your way to longevity. Speaking of being at the beach, surf your way, not on a surfboard though. How do we surf?
Not on a surfboard, not SURF, although I'm sure there's a really cool acronym around that one. We're talking about SERF, simply eat real food. Real food nutrition is the name of the game, and it's not complicated. Let's show you how do you know if it's real. This is our real food test. You can do this at home. I challenge every single one of you to do this. Take the food, set it on the counter, and I want you to walk away for 2 weeks. When you come back in 2 weeks, if that food item looks the same, guys, it is not food. Real food, Dr. Rob, it will spoil, it will go bad, it will actually break down. Fake food, processed, ultra processed, hyper palatable, canned in box food with all these ingredients is not designed to nourish your body. It's built for shelf life. So this is a very powerful strategy that you can utilize every single day. Ask yourself, am I eating real food or am I eating fake food?
Yeah, a really good rule of thumb that you could use is if it wasn't grown, raised, or caught, you know what? Probably not real food. Speaking of acronyms, I'll let Dr. Randy give you this one. There's another acronym when it comes to when you're looking at whether or not you should eat something or if it is real food and you're looking at the package. What's this new acronym?
Yes, if you're still not sure if it's real, apply the second acronym, and this one we call SCI-FI. Now, not SCI-FI. We're talking about SIFI, single ingredient food items. So this right here will definitely make sure that you're avoiding fake food. I'll give you an example. If you look at the ingredient list of eggs, it's a single ingredient food item. Because guess what the ingredients say, Dr. Rob?
Eggs.
Guess what? Raw milk from the dairy. What's the one ingredient?
Milk.
You got it. What's the one ingredient with raw honey?
Honey.
This is so simple. Remember, it isn't complicated. It's intentional. This is what health is about. It's giving your body real food nutrition with single ingredient food items. If you do, in fact, this is so interesting because I was at our favorite coffee shop, Buongiorno, here in Grapevine, Texas. Best coffee we believe in it probably in the world. But we're there. I was there, and this lady walks up to me. She'd heard me talking to somebody, and she goes, "Are you in healthcare?" I was like, "Well, actually, I am." I said, "I'm a holistic doctor. I have a wellness metabolism company with my best friend, and we have a podcast." And she's like, "Okay, I don't want to interrupt what you're doing, but if you were just going to tell me 2 things or 1 thing to do that would change my life in the next minute, what would that be?" And guess what I told her?
Sci-fi.
I said, surf for your food and sci-fi. I said, do that the next 30 days. Think about going the next 30 days only eating real food nutrition with single ingredients on the label, or probably not on the label because it's not in a box. I said, do that for 30 days. And if you do that, you will radically alter your life. Surf for your food and sci-fi. Guys, this is simple. It's not complicated. It's intentional.
It is 100% intentional. Thank you, Margie said. Rob is a genius. And so
Hey, Margie, I don't want to, feel like you're playing favorites right now.
so you know
he is a genius. I agree.
You know what's really funny is we are, yeah, since somebody else said that, yeah, you guys should be called the common sense guys. Well, I mean, it really is common sense. And it made me think of even this last weekend, we were with our friend Dale Bigtree and celebrating his birthday with him, which was a great honor to be able to celebrate with him. But one of the things that he said, and even his team was like, you know why Dale loves you guys so much is because you guys are so simple. I'm like,
did he just insult us?
I felt like I'm like, was that a compliment or an insult? I'm not sure, but yeah, it is common sense when you go back to looking at how the body is actually created, and the way it's designed. So, all right, moving on, let's talk
Keep
about
this party going.
keep this party going. The next one is really practicing intentional thought hygiene. You think about your hygiene and taking a shower, on a daily basis, but when it comes to your thoughts, it's
Wait, whoa,
like,
whoa, 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 whoa. You're supposed to shower every day?
I mean,
This is news to
actually,
I
not
I
necessarily.
had no idea. This is powerful. Keep going,
Not
man.
necessarily, because the whole bacteria and or germ thing, that's a whole different podcast. We should
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
whole one on that.
We will at some point for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's just like practicing good thought hygiene. A lot of people, you've told yourself this story your entire life, and you've literally been programmed. And that
Yeah.
programming, once again, that programming revolves again around separation, right? Creating a victim. I was even thinking about this yesterday. It's like, programmed my entire life, with it being Easter this last weekend, as far
Mhm.
as our thoughts go, and how really, Satan wants to separate us from other people, whether it's from race, color, religion, all of those different things. When somebody, even asks, what's your culture? I'm like, my culture is the entire world. Because once you say, it's like, I remember, like, when I first started my business, there was like a Hispanic chamber of commerce. There was this chamber, all those different things trying to separate us, right?
Yeah.
If we're all together, what I was thinking about is, I was like, you know what? I was raised even in a Protestant church, my mom, but my dad was Catholic,
Yeah.
right? And my mom wasn't okay with me going to church with my dad because it's Catholic. I'm not saying Catholic is good, Catholic's bad, but if we're all worshiping the same true God,
Yeah.
then why would it matter which place that I did it at? And so I was just thinking, you know what? I think I'm going to may go this weekend to a Catholic church, just so that I can be able to see why it is that my dad was so indoctrinated in that, and why my mom was so against it. Just thinking about those stories that we tell her, I'm like, why did I ever tell myself that story about that being like a bad place to go?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just like we have these stories. And so here's what I was thinking about as well. Here's my new mantra, right? Is, if we're restoring the body back to its original programming, from the programming that God put in there from the very beginning, and him creating us in his
Mhm.
image, and that image being, right, perfection, right? We're all
Yes.
imperfectly perfect.
Yeah. God does not
Then,
make junk for sure.
then if we're being restored back to that, really, my word for restore is restory. Let's restore those things that we say to ourselves on a daily basis. So when you're thinking about things, unconsciously saying, maybe I'm not good enough to do that, or that's not me. Well, who told you that wasn't you, right? How did you learn that? Well, maybe you should change that story and said, that's absolutely me. That is me that deserves that house, or that whatever it is that you're desiring, or you're wanting for your life, or that abundance that you're wanting for your life, and change that thought process. And the most powerful two words that you could ever say is the words I am, right?
Mhm.
Even in the Bible, when Moses asks, who are you? God says, I am that I am. It's just I am. So when you put I am in front of that new story, that's powerful. Whether it's a positive or a negative, I don't know. There's not good or bad. It's just what you chose to put behind that I am for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's real. It's so real. You think about, as I've gotten older, I really value this cliche, and we've all heard it, which is, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And so I've really embraced how, man, my thoughts, my actions, how I react to things, I really look at everything as an opportunity to learn more about myself and to become a better person. And the power of our thoughts are so important. In fact, there's the placebo is a very powerful thing, right? If we believe something good's going to happen, then a lot of times it does. But also, to your point, the nocebo is just as powerful. If you believe something bad is going to happen, it will. They've even done this with giving people, they said they had cancer and they gave them like these sugar pills that they thought were chemo, and people started losing their hair because they were told you're probably going to lose your hair with this chemo, yet they were giving sugar pills. So the power of your mind thinking you were getting chemo, you lost your hair. And the second they told them it was a sugar pill, all their hair grew back. So this is really powerful. And the point of this is what you really believe about yourself and the thoughts that you tell yourself and how you see your life is so vital to being healthy. This is why, when we talked about the very first pillar here, knowing what health is, if you really believe that your body's designed to be healthy, then now decisions, thoughts, beliefs, and how you see life is completely different. But if you are a victim, everybody's against you. When you're a victor, and like you said, and like the Bible says, God made us in his image. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. God does not make junk. He made us to be whole, healed, with a purpose. That's a different way of thinking. When you start thinking about what if people thought differently, knew who God made them to be, put real food in their body, were intentional with their life, their thoughts. I think we could create a whole different way of living and thinking, and we would see this disease crisis, this metabolic crisis go away. It's not going to happen with the government, with the politician, with the doctor, with the drug company. Stop outsourcing your health to all the things that you think that are going to save you. Don't even outsource it to us. You are ultimately in control of your health. Stop turning it over to other people when you're your best advocate and you already have the best doctor inside of you.
Yeah, thoughts are powerful. You will attract whatever it is that you are really thinking about into your life. In fact,
good, bad, or ugly.
Guess who called me yesterday? We were just having the conversation about a friend of ours, Paul. He's got some great things coming around the corner. He just called me yesterday.
No
we were
way.
just talking about
Oh, wow. Yeah, we just brought him up. We hadn't talked about Paul in a year, probably.
I'll have to fill you in on what he said, because it's amazing, and y'all will benefit by what he said as well. That's why I'm bringing it up. And we're just even talking about we're going to London. So we were talking about a friend of ours that's in London, Marissa. She reached out to us.
She did.
You just put that out there. It is a real thing. All right, next one, real quick. All right, so the next one is to prioritize your healing window.
Oh, yeah, this is
making
good.
sure that you are prioritizing sleep. Why is sleep so important for you? It's important for a lot of reasons, but I mean, that really is when your body has a chance to be able to utilize its energy to be able to heal and repair your body. So it's so crucial. You got to be intentional about it as well. I think so few people, and we had even been taught a long time ago. Some of you may have even heard this before. People say, you can sleep when you're dead. There's a lot of things that you need to get done. Well, the problem is some people are becoming dead a lot faster and not able to do those things that they want because they haven't prioritized making sure that their body is healing from above down and inside out and getting yourself some quality sleep. And so it's
you said, you'll sleep when you're dead. You're not sleeping well, you'll be dead pretty quick.
Exactly.
So that may be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But this is I love this topic here. We won't spend a lot of time. I know we got to finish this up, so hang in there with us. But this is the one thing, and there's been a lot of things I'm working on, but this is the one thing I believe I prioritized the most this year has been my sleep, more so than ever before. And I can tell you, it's been life-changing for me. The way I feel, my energy, my attitude of gratitude. I definitely experience a lot more vitamin G, the most important vitamin in the world, vitamin gratitude, when I'm rested and healed. Remember, that is a healing window that you get to take advantage of, and it is free. Everything we've told you is free. So that window, when you heal, that's when your body repairs itself. And if you're not taking advantage of that window, a good 6, 7, 8 hours plus to heal and repair, you're really blowing it, and it's going to catch up. Perfect time. That is your fast. People talk about, should I fast? Should I not fast? That is your fast from 8, 9, 10 p.m. until the very next day, guys. You're getting that time where you're not eating and fasting from dinner to the next day that you eat. So take advantage of that, because when you're not eating, your body gets to go into autophagy. So that healing, repair, inborn system where your body's creating brand new tissue, tapping into stem cell. Your lymphatic system, which helps detox waste from your brain through your lymphatic system, is happening. You're setting up all your hormones like growth hormone to reverse aging and to repair tissue. If you're not prioritizing your sleep, you're really blowing it. So be careful with blue light after sunset. where you're getting computer screens and bright artificial light into your eyes. Be careful with that. When the sun goes down, keep the lights dim. Stay off your phone at night. Quit putting bright light in because that will completely disrupt going back to getting sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning to set up those circadian rhythms, to get your melatonin secreting on time, to make sure that your cortisol is balancing out where it should be lower in the evenings to optimize all those healing hormones. Guys, prioritize your sleep. It's life-changing, it's free, and there may not be a better bang for your buck, if we're going to be honest, than just getting a great night's sleep.
Amen to that. All right, we've got to get on so that we can be able to chat with our very special Happy Healthy members and answer any questions that they do have. So we first wanted to jump off, or before we jumped off of here, just say thank you so much for listening. Thank you for sharing this. Share the show with your friends, your family members, comment on it, like it. If you have any questions about it, you can go to @the_H2Life on Instagram and let us know what you want to hear us talk about. Also, if you go to thehappyhealthylife.com right now, we are doing a spring promo on there where you can get our Surge minerals, our trace minerals, as well as our SCT oil as a spring into health bonus pack right there, and save up to 15% off. I'll make sure that the discount codes get onto the show notes. And
also,
go to metabolismscore.com if you're wondering how your metabolism is doing.
Take the quiz. Winners know the score, guys.
Absolutely. So thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you again next time.
God bless.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram @the H2Life or on YouTube and Facebook @the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.